What if I told you that what you're saying is actually blocking what you're trying to receive? That the more you chase money, the more it slips away, because it's your inner noise that keeps it from arriving? It may sound counterintuitive, but that's exactly what Neville Goddard taught. He didn't promise miracles falling from the sky, he revealed a forbidden secret: true manifestation happens when you stop. When you become silent. When you feel. I know, you've probably tried affirmations, visualizations, prayers, English-named techniques, and maybe even sleeping with headphones playing frequencies. But what if the missing piece wasn't one more method, but rather the absence of interference? What if all it took was for you to sleep with a spoon under your pillow and silence everything that's blocking the vibration of abundance? This video isn't for those looking for more theory. It's for those who want real results in 24 hours, by applying the same silent method Neville used every single night. If you can stay with me until the end, and more importantly, if you can feel what I'm about to show you, then maybe the universe will finally start to answer you. Neville Goddard wasn't just a spiritual teacher, he was a silent game changer. Born in 1905 in Barbados, and spending much of his life in the United States, his ideas quietly crossed borders with magnetic force. But Neville didn't shout to be heard. He taught in whispers. And that's exactly why so many consider him a master of mysteries. While the world obsessed over external formulas, he pointed inward: imagination is God. He meant it literally. For him, the forbidden secret of creation wasn't in the skies, it was within. And once people realized that, reality itself shifted. What made Neville different was that he didn't just preach theories, he lived them. Instead of focusing on rituals or gurus, he taught, imagine the end. And more than that, live emotionally as if it's already done. It was like he took a page from Hermes Trismegistus and handed it to the everyday person. And the most surprising part? It worked. Stories poured in, students transforming their finances, relationships, even health, simply by applying this feeling-based technique. And it all began with one simple act: closing your eyes, and imagining differently. People still believe that imagination is child's play. That daydreaming is a waste of time. But Neville flipped that script completely. For him, imagination was sacred, a direct line to the infinite. But not just any imagination, the kind loaded with feeling, charged with intention. That's where manifestation truly begins. Without feeling, there's no magnetism. It's like trying to sleep with a spoon under your pillow and expecting dreams to arrive, without ever entering the right state. To Neville, the outer world was just a mirror, and mirrors have no will of their own. They reflect. That's it. The life you're living today? A reflection of yesterday's imagination. The life you'll live tomorrow? A reflection of what you're imagining right now, even unconsciously. And that's where the real spiritual responsibility begins. If you want to change the outside world, you must first shift the inner one. Mystical? Maybe. But don't take my word for it. Try it. Test it. Neville's method was always practical, simple. Yours for the taking. He went further than the typical law of attraction. He spoke of embodying your desire. It wasn't about asking, it was about assuming. He often said, you don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. And being what you desire isn't pretending, it's feeling it in your bones before you ever see it. Wearing the future like an invisible garment. Some called him a heretic. Others, a prophet. But Neville Goddard was a living reminder that the power we search for out there already lives within. His legacy wasn't a religion or a movement, it was a key. A key that opens silent doors. And perhaps, as we dive into the next part of his philosophy, you'll begin to see why so many started sleeping differently, thinking differently, and manifesting the unimaginable, by understanding one subtle shift in perception. Neville Goddard's philosophy doesn't begin with empty promises or rehearsed formulas. It starts with a disarming statement: everything you experience is created by you, and more precisely, by your imagination. And not the vague, drifting kind of imagination, but one that's structured, emotional, and intentional. For Neville, imagining wasn't just an act, it was the very essence of being human. As if the forbidden secret of creation was hidden between your thoughts, images, and internal sensations. That's when everything changes. Reality, he said, doesn't happen to you. It happens through you. The core of Neville's teaching is that God is not out there. God is your consciousness. Radical, right? But that's what he taught. I am, he said, is the name of God. That phrase, used by Moses and Jesus, took on a whole new meaning in Neville's mouth. When you say, I am wealthy, I am loved, I am thriving, you're using the divine name to shape your life. But when you say, I am broke, I am unlucky, I am anxious, guess what? You're still using that sacred name, to create, only now on a low frequency. The universe doesn't argue. It responds. This view walks hand in hand with another crucial idea: each mental state is a state of consciousness. And consciousness states are like radio stations, each vibrates at a frequency and only manifests what's in tune with it. It's like sleeping with a spoon under your pillow hoping for clarity. If your inner state is chaos, you'll dream in static. But if you're peaceful, you'll sleep like a sage. It's not just about what you think, but what you consistently feel. Emotion is the fuel of creation, and consciousness is the steering wheel. Neville's philosophy demands courage. The courage to stop blaming the outside world, and to start looking inward. You can't apply what he teaches if you still think others are responsible for your reality. Interestingly, the more someone owns that power, the freer they feel. And, in a way, more dangerous, because they become untouchable. They start observing their thoughts, choosing emotions intentionally, using silence as an alignment tool. And that's when the game changes. Reality bends, as Tesla once said, to the force of the mind. Here comes the paradox: the more silent you become, the more powerful you are. Neville understood this deeply. The external world, he said, is just an echo, a delayed reaction of what you previously imagined. Chasing reality desperately doesn't work. What works is going inward and shaping your internal state like a sculptor shaping clay. And that clay is your imagination, your beliefs, your dominant feelings. Over time, this becomes a habit. A daily ritual. A lifestyle. And when that happens, reality starts to coincide with your new frequency. This philosophy isn't just about attracting money or love, though it works for that too. It's an invitation to live differently. To think, sleep, act, and feel with presence. And when you tune into that frequency, even silence tastes different. The pause becomes a message. The void becomes power. And imagination becomes the bridge between the invisible and the tangible. And as we move forward, you'll see how Neville turned this philosophy into a technique, even for those who've never meditated a day in their life. In Neville's eyes, imagination isn't an escape from reality, it's the womb where reality is born. Everything that exists was first imagined. A building, a song, a relationship, a fortune. The entire universe is the result of a creator mind in motion. What separates those who manifest effortlessly from those who feel stuck is how seriously they take this power. Most people imagine without intention, get lost in scattered thoughts, and then wonder why life doesn't move. But the masters know, when imagination is charged with emotion, it becomes pure alchemy. Neville used to say, imagination creates reality. And he said it with unwavering conviction. Because he himself practiced it every night like a sacred ritual. Like sleeping with a forbidden secret under the pillow, the image of your desire, felt as real, is the seed of the future. It doesn't matter what your current reality looks like. If you can imagine the end, and feel it as if it's already done, then something shifts in the invisible field. What seems like magic is actually spiritual science. An internal technology almost no one consciously uses. Here's the twist: it's not enough to just visualize. It's not about creating a mental movie and then going back to complaining. The key is to feel. Emotion must stick to the image like perfume to skin. When you imagine with real emotion, you send out a strong signal. A vibrational command. That's why Neville always said, don't imagine about it, imagine from it. Don't see the scene as a spectator, see it through the eyes of someone already living it. This subtle switch changes everything. Because you stop asking, and start assuming. Let's use a real-life example. Say you want to manifest money. Instead of imagining winning the lottery or begging for a raise, visualize the moment after it's already happened. Sitting on your balcony, sipping coffee, breathing with relief. Feel the freedom. The lightness. Hear the stillness in your mind. That kind of visualization takes root because it touches an emotional truth within you. It doesn't have to be cinematic. It just has to feel real to your soul. The spoon under the pillow must vibrate with truth. To Neville, imagination was more than an exercise, it was a portal. A portal to a new version of yourself. When you imagine correctly, it's not just the external that changes. You change. Your posture, your language, your decisions. And these small inner shifts shape the outer world over time. It's invisible at first, but consistent. Practice this daily, even just 2 minutes before sleep, and you'll notice signs. Coincidences. Shifts. What feels random is actually the universe responding to your new energetic station. And here's the catch, you're already imagining all the time. The problem is, without awareness, you keep manifesting what you don't want. So training imagination is training creation. It means taking the will back. It's not hard, it just takes presence. And it takes silence. Because before you can create with clarity, you need to stop repeating the noise of the past. And that leads us into the next step, understanding the power behind Neville's silence technique, a deceptively simple method that opens the invisible world. Neville Goddard's silence technique isn't what most people think. It's not just about being quiet or turning off external noise. It's something much deeper, and infinitely more powerful. It's about silencing internal chatter, that endless stream of thoughts saying it won't work, reminding you of unpaid bills, replaying old conversations, imagining anxious futures. Neville knew that as long as the mind is distracted, it cannot create. The silence he taught is a return to the center, a fertile void where everything begins. And it's in that internal stillness that the impossible becomes possible. Imagine your mind as a lake. When agitated, it reflects nothing. But when still, it mirrors the sky. That's what the silence technique does. It quiets your inner water so that the image of your desire can appear, undistorted. Neville believed this stillness was essential for real manifestation. Because it's in silence that your vibrational field can shift. Noise prevents feeling. And without feeling, there is no creation. This kind of silence isn't absence of sound, it's pure presence. It's you, in a state of being. And that's where the forbidden secret of master manifestors lives. One of Neville's most brilliant ideas was using silence as preparation. Before visualizing, he would enter a state where the mind was quiet, the body relaxed, and awareness turned inward. This technique aligns with ancient practices, from Hermes Trismegistus to yogic meditation. But here, there's no dogma. It's simple, direct. Like someone sleeping with a spoon under their pillow, not just for dreams, but for revelations. It's not cheap mysticism, it's spiritual neuroscience. And the more you practice it, the easier it becomes to access that internal portal. There's no right way to apply it. Just what works for you. Some find silence through breath work. Others in a quiet walk. Others simply by closing their eyes before bed and observing thoughts without judgment. The technique doesn't demand perfection, it asks for consistency. True silence isn't the absence of thought, it's the absence of identification with thought. It's that moment when you realize, I am not my thoughts. I am the creator behind them. And in that awareness, even time feels different. Silence is also a kind of vibrational shield. It clears emotional residue, dissolves doubt, interrupts insecure patterns. Don't underestimate one full minute of conscious silence. One entire minute where you choose peace instead of reactivity. It sounds small, until you try it. Try it tonight. Lie down, breathe, close your eyes, and just feel. Do it like someone holding a key. Because that's what this moment is, the entry point to everything you're trying to create. And when silence sets in, the technique truly begins. It's at that exact moment you're ready to visualize, not as someone hoping, but as someone commanding reality. Silence prepares the soil. And up next, you'll discover how it helps stop scattered thoughts, those mental saboteurs that ruin your frequency without you even noticing. Have you ever noticed how the mind is like a broken radio that never turns off? Thought after thought, no pause, no mercy. That's the infamous, internal dialogue, and often, it's the real villain behind failed manifestations. Neville Goddard said that to manifest clearly, you need to create vibrational space. And that space doesn't come by thinking more, it comes by thinking less. Or rather, by stopping automatic thoughts. Silencing this noise is like clearing your mental whiteboard. Only then can you draw something new. That's where the miracle begins. Internal dialogue is usually negative. This won't work, it's too hard, I don't know how, what if I fail? The problem is that each of these phrases carries a vibration. And the universe doesn't respond to what you want, it responds to what you emit. So if you don't silence these thoughts, you reinforce the very reality you're trying to escape. It's like trying to sleep with a spoon under your pillow hoping for peace, while feeding your mind chaos. The vibration gets polluted. And manifestation stalls. But silencing internal dialogue doesn't mean fighting thoughts. If you try to push them away, they get louder. The path is to observe. Create a space where you simply notice thoughts come and go, like clouds in the sky. In that space, something magical happens, attention returns to the now. And the now is the only place manifestation happens. You don't manifest in the past. Or in the future. It's always in the present. And ironically, only in the present can we visualize the future with real power. A paradox Neville understood intimately. Neville called this entering the state of allowance. Because when internal chatter stops, resistance fades. And in the absence of resistance, energy flows. The vibrational field opens, like fertile land awaiting a seed. And that seed is the felt image of what you want to experience. You can't plant on dry soil full of mental debris. Silence prepares the ground. And the more you cultivate it, the more sensitive you become to signs, synchronicities, nudges from the universe that used to go unnoticed. Think about how many great ideas come in the shower, before sleep, or while walking alone. It's no accident. It's because in those moments, internal chatter drops. The field opens. Intuition steps in. And when that happens, even the impossible starts forming a plan. That's why silence doesn't waste time, it saves energy. It focuses. It tunes you to a finer frequency. One that doesn't shout. One that whispers. And only those who are silent can hear it. Hermes Trismegistus said it best, silence is the language of initiates. Neville just translated it for those who were ready. And the best part? You don't need a meditation room or spiritual retreat. You can do this right now, where you are. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes. Listen to what remains when thoughts fall away. That's the beginning of vibrational space. And in the next step, you'll discover that this silence isn't just lack of sound, but the absence of scattered thought. That's when manifestation starts taking shape. There's a big difference between being quiet and being still. Many think that silence means simply not speaking. But true alchemy happens when the mind also goes quiet. Neville Goddard was crystal clear: it's not external noise that blocks manifestation, it's internal static. Those subtle voices saying, "You're not worthy, it's hard, it's not the right time." Even the softest of these thoughts weaken your vibration. And it's those tiny cracks in the frequency that sabotage the creation process. Real silence, the kind that creates, is internal. Let's be real, the mind loves jumping from branch to branch. 1 second you're visualizing your dream home, the next you're worried about the electric bill. A scattered mind is like an unfocused beam of light, it illuminates everything, but nothing clearly. But focused thought, coupled with silence, becomes a laser. That's what creates. When you stop the mental noise, what's left is presence. And presence is power. That's why nearly every spiritual tradition, from Hermes Trismegistus to Zen, talks about stilling the mind. Because the void is where it all begins. Now, this doesn't mean fighting your thoughts. The more you try to silence them by force, the louder they get. The key is observation. Create a space where you simply witness thoughts rise and fade, without attachment. That's when the magic begins, you return to the now. And manifestation only works in the now. You don't create in the memory of what was, nor in the worry of what could be. You create in the pulse of presence. And ironically, that's also the moment when the future becomes possible. Once you understand this, you realize the real work isn't imagining more, it's imagining better. That requires clarity. A clean mental canvas. Only then can the picture of your desire show up clearly. It's like sleeping with a spoon under your pillow. The object is symbolic, but what matters is what it represents. An anchor. An intention. A ritual that breaks the mental loop and welcomes the new. And for the new to come in, the old must go. And the old, almost always, is mental clutter. This isn't just spiritual, it's biological. Silencing overthinking reduces cortisol, increases serotonin, changes your breathing, your posture, your response to stress. And the more you practice, the more natural it feels. Suddenly, that habit of constant worry begins to dissolve. That anxiety before bed fades. You start to notice that silence has a flavor. And within that stillness lies a quiet knowing that you're the one creating all of this. Stopping scattered thoughts is the first step to becoming a conscious co-creator. No matter how chaotic the outer world gets, if your inner world is still, the chaos loses its grip. In that state, true visualization begins. That's when your desire finds fertile ground. And coming up next, you'll see why it's not enough to see what you want, you must feel it as real. Because imagining without emotion is like planting without water. Neville Goddard always insisted, feeling is the secret. That short sentence holds massive power. It's not enough to visualize something beautiful if, deep inside, you feel unworthy, distant, or doubtful. The universe doesn't respond to images, it responds to vibration. And that vibration comes from feeling. It's what gives life to the imagined scene. Without it, there's no emotional charge, no attraction. Feeling as if it's already real isn't optional, it's the engine behind manifestation. It's like hitting send on an email. Without it, nothing arrives. That's where many people get stuck. They imagine a better future but feel broke, unloved, unsafe. And the vibrational field follows the feeling, not the desire. Neville explained that feeling is a state of being. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you become it before it happens. It's a shift from doing to being. Like wearing an energetic identity. That's why feeling matters more than affirmations, YouTube videos, or vision boards. Frequency is not words. It's emotion. Let's make it practical. Say you want a new relationship. Don't focus on what they look like or your first date. Instead, feel what you think that relationship would give you, security, warmth, joy. Breathe like someone who's already loved. Walk like someone who's at peace. That emotional simulation is the key. The universe doesn't speak Portuguese or English, it speaks frequency. And when you feel as if it's real, you become a magnet. A silent, undeniable magnet. Neville taught that the body must learn the future. This is actual science. Joe Dispenza shows that when you feel the future in the present, your brain builds new connections. Your body releases hormones as if it's happening now. That's how you reprogram your subconscious. You're not faking, you're training your energetic field to emit a new signal. And if you hold that signal, life responds. Not by luck. By coherence. Here's the forbidden secret: you don't have to see to believe. You have to feel to create. Neville said, "There's nothing to do, only something to be." And that being starts with feeling. That's why he recommended practicing before sleep, when the mind is open, the body receptive. Instead of going to bed worried, what if you fell asleep with a spoon under your pillow and a heart full of gratitude? The shift is real. You wake up different. You walk different. You vibrate different. And the beauty? That feeling doesn't need to last long. 1 minute of authentic feeling is more powerful than a week of fake visualization. It's not quantity. It's depth. And now that you understand the importance of feeling, let's move to the next layer: how to visualize the desired scene with real emotion, turning the invisible into the inevitable. When Neville talked about visualization, he wasn't referring to daydreaming or picturing something pretty and hoping the universe would get the message. He meant something much more specific, almost surgical: a short, symbolic, emotionally charged scene. The mental image isn't a whole movie. It's a vivid snapshot that you can access and repeat even in chaos. And the more genuine emotion you bring to that image, the faster it starts shaping your vibrational field. Let's say you want a new job. Neville wouldn't tell you to visualize yourself signing a contract or giving a speech. Instead, picture something simple: someone saying, "Congratulations, you got it," or your mother smiling and saying, "I knew you would." A phrase. A gesture. An expression. The forbidden secret is this: the power is in the emotional detail, not in the grandeur of the scene. Because it's emotion that vibrates, pulses, and communicates with the invisible field. The image simply gives that emotion a shape. If you want to supercharge this process, include your senses. See the scene. Hear the sounds. Smell the room. Touch the objects. Your brain can't tell the difference between real and intensely imagined experiences. So if you feel it as real now, your body believes it, and when the body believes, the universe listens. This is vibrational dance. So do it before sleep, when your body is soft, your mind is still, and yes, even with a spoon under your pillow if it helps you remember your intention. It doesn't have to take long. 3 minutes of deep visualization can shift your entire day. Neville said consistency in the image creates a new frequency. Like tuning an instrument, at first it sounds off, but with time, the melody becomes perfect. And the beauty is, this isn't just about attracting external things. It's about becoming someone new. Because when you feel different, you act differently, and that changes everything. Here's a tip: visualize the end of the desire, not the journey. If you want health, imagine someone telling you, "You look amazing." If you want to travel, imagine yourself returning and saying, "That was better than I dreamed." These short scenes are powerful because they carry the feeling of mission accomplished. The energy of completion. That's the frequency of creation. That's where energy aligns. And if you do this daily, something mystical happens. You begin to feel nostalgic for a future that hasn't happened yet, but inside you, it already exists. And it's from that state that we move into the next step: how to use sensation as the primary element of manifestation. Because what you feel is what you become. And what you become is what you attract. Neville Goddard made it clear, manifestation doesn't happen because you think something. It happens because you feel something. Not just any feeling, but the one that matches what you want to live. Sensation is the glue between the invisible and the visible. It's the vibrational code that speaks to the universe, quietly, without effort. When you feel like you've already received, you begin to radiate that new reality. Your mind may imagine, but it's your body that vibrates. And that is what shapes the events, coincidences, and breakthroughs. The biggest mistake people make is trying to create from the head. Thinking, analyzing, over-planning. But the field doesn't respond to logic, it responds to emotional coherence. If your thought says, "I want prosperity," but your body feels fear, doubt, or scarcity, guess what wins? The feeling. That's why sensation is the real forbidden secret. When you feel abundance, even with no money in your account, you activate a new field. And that field starts attracting situations that match its vibration. Want to try it now? Close your eyes. Imagine you just got incredible news. Maybe you were approved, healed, loved. Now notice your breath. That smile forming. That warmth in your chest. That is the feeling you should practice. Not robotic affirmations, but stepping into that state, even for 1 minute a day. That's vibrational alignment. That's conscious creation. Neville wasn't alone. Joe Dispenza, Bruce Lipton, David R. Hawkins, all confirmed, emotions have measurable frequencies. Love, joy, gratitude vibrate high. Fear, guilt, shame vibrate low. And the universe, being precise and intelligent, aligns you with experiences that mirror what you feel most. So don't obsess over the thing. Focus on the state. Because that determines what you attract. And here's the beauty, you can train it. Wake up and feel grateful as if everything already worked out. Before bed, feel fulfilled as if the day was a total victory. Throughout the day, return to that state, even if only for 30 seconds. You can even use a physical trigger, touch your chest, or keep a spoon under your pillow, as an anchor. Little rituals. Deep power. Sensation is the soil where manifestation grows. Without it, your desire won't root. With it, even the impossible feels natural. It's a quiet, internal practice, but one that reshapes reality. And now that you know what to feel, let's talk about when to feel it, because timing amplifies everything. There's a secret few people know, but once you learn it, everything shifts. Timing matters. Neville Goddard taught that there are energetic windows each day when your mind is open and your body more receptive. And among those windows, 2 are especially powerful, right when you wake up and right before you fall asleep. These moments are sacred. Your brainwaves are slow, your subconscious is unlocked, and the veil between your current life and the one you're creating is thin. In the morning, your brain is still in alpha or theta state. That's before the phone buzzes, coffee brews, or social media scrolls begin. Use this window. Just for 2 minutes, plant a scene with emotion. Because your mind hasn't yet attached to external reality, you can program it before the world does. Like tuning your internal antenna before receiving any signal. And those who do this, they often experience signs before breakfast. At night, the power multiplies. As you fall asleep, the mind quiets, the body relaxes, and whatever you feel most in that moment gets registered by the subconscious as truth. That's why Neville said this moment is sacred. It's not time to worry about tomorrow, it's time to feel the wish fulfilled. That's when you lie down, breathe, and imagine the end. That's when your vibration travels into the field and starts shaping tomorrow. But these aren't the only windows. You can also apply the technique during short pauses in your day. A quiet lunch. A walk. A shower. These small cracks in your schedule are portals. 1 minute of visualization. 1 breath of gratitude. One thought that says, "It's done." These micro-practices add up. They recalibrate your frequency throughout the day. It's like tuning an instrument, not waiting until it's out of key, but adjusting as you go. That's what makes the practice powerful. Not isolated magic, but daily presence. Waking and sleeping with intention. The spoon under your pillow isn't superstition, it's symbol. An anchor. A reminder that you are in command of the invisible. And the invisible begins to organize when you decide that consistently. And if you start practicing at these key times today, you'll notice something subtle but powerful: synchronicities accelerate. Doubts fade. And that strange feeling that something is happening becomes real. Because it is. And now, let's structure this into a step-by-step guide. Who said you need a temple, a meditation cushion, or angelic music to practice Neville's technique? None of that. The beauty of this method is that it fits within your day, inside the cracks of your routine. That moment in traffic, waiting for the light to change. That pause in the bathroom just to catch your breath. Those are portals. Tiny gaps of quiet where silence can be cultivated. Even 30 seconds of stillness is enough to shift your state. Right there, you can reconnect with your desire and realign your frequency. Most people wait for free time to connect with their creative power. But the truth is, the masters don't wait for the perfect moment, they create the perfect moment. Neville knew this well. He would say that while others are distracted, the conscious creator uses life's pauses. A break between meetings. A moment between thoughts. Even boredom becomes fertile soil. It's in those empty minutes that you can close your eyes, breathe deeply, and feel the end of your desire, as if it's already real. Visualizing during the day is how you remind your mind who's in charge. Because over time, the routine pulls you back into autopilot. And autopilot vibrates from the past. But when you interrupt that cycle with small moments of presence, you reinforce your intention. So use reminders, a phone alarm that says, "Imagine now." A sticky note in your wallet that says, "Feel." Or a simple physical gesture, like touching your heart, to bring your focus back to the now. These are vibrational anchors. Shortcuts to alignment. What's amazing is that these moments compound. 1 minute here, 2 there, 5 at lunch, and soon your whole energy shifts. You feel lighter. More certain. More magnetic. Even if the world around you stays the same, you've changed inside. And that's all it takes. The universe doesn't respond to words, it responds to what you are. And when you become presence, intention, and silence, even in chaos, you manifest from a place most people never reach. You can begin right now. Close your eyes. Feel your body. Choose a symbolic scene. See it. Feel it. Breathe. Done. That's manifesting during the day. That's using reality's gaps to plant a new reality. Like walking with a spoon under your pillow, but in your chest. A living reminder that even in the noise of the world, you can always create silence inside. And in that silence, you create everything. And when you master this skill, pausing to manifest, you gain control over your frequency, anywhere, anytime. But how exactly do you put this into a structured routine? There's a simple, powerful step-by-step process you can follow. If Neville Goddard made anything clear, it's that manifestation doesn't need to be complicated. Quite the opposite, the simpler, the better. The silence technique he taught can be practiced by anyone, as long as there's sincere intention. And everything begins with the first step: find a quiet place. It could be your bedroom, your bathroom, or even the back seat of a parked car. What matters is that, for a few minutes, no one disturbs you. It doesn't need to be sacred. But it needs to be yours, a space where the external world doesn't speak louder than your own soul. Next, relax your body and breathe deeply. This isn't a warm-up, it's essential. Breathing is the bridge between a chaotic mind and a creative one. Inhale through your nose, hold it briefly, and exhale slowly. Repeat until your body feels heavy. This slowing down is the portal. It tells your nervous system, you're safe. You can stop now. You're ready. When the body relaxes, the mind follows. That's when autopilot shuts off, and your creative mode turns on. Now, create a short, symbolic mental scene that represents your fulfilled desire. Keep it simple. Maybe someone hugs you and says, "You did it." Maybe you're laughing, in peace, feeling relief. Pick something easy to remember and emotionally charged. Don't complicate it. The more real it feels, the more powerful it becomes. And here's the secret: emotion must be present. Feel it as if it's happening now. Breathe as if it's real. Smile, really smile. Then, hold the image in silence. Don't narrate it mentally. Don't say, "I'm here," or "This is working." Just be in it. Like a waking dream. Let the image flow through your body like a memory. Stay there for a few minutes. 1 is enough. 3 is great. 5 is gold. What matters isn't time, it's emotional depth. The strength of your vibration. The clarity of your energy. That's what plants the seed. Then, release it. Finish with gratitude. Not rush. Not anxiety. Just release, like someone placing an order at a restaurant and trusting the food will arrive. You don't keep checking the kitchen. You let it come. And the more you let go, the faster things flow. Manifestation doesn't need effort. It needs frequency. And frequency is born from silence, emotion, and surrender. Repeat this every day, especially before sleep or after waking. And revisit it during the day when possible. That's enough. Now you have the map. A simple, powerful, and deeply transformative process. But to truly understand why this works, we need to go one step further: the role silence plays in your energetic alignment. Because it's silence that clears the static and tunes your frequency to match your desire. Silence isn't just the absence of noise. It's a subtle technology. A vibrational tool that reorganizes the field around, and within, you. When Neville Goddard spoke of silence, he wasn't just talking about turning off the TV or escaping sound. He meant something much deeper: the stilling of your inner chaos. Silence is the fertile void where your desire can finally take root. Manifestation requires openness. And that openness doesn't come from thinking more, but from thinking less. True creation needs space. And that space isn't imaginary. It's energetic. It's measurable. When you enter deep silence, your brainwaves slow, your nervous system relaxes, and your electromagnetic field stabilizes. You enter coherence. And in that state, desires meet no resistance. They begin to flow. They move into alignment with the field of possibilities. Neville knew this intuitively. Today, science confirms it: silence is a field where creation can finally take form. Without silence, there's interference. And interference distorts the signal. It's like tuning into a radio station while static blares. You might be sending out a desire, but if the frequency is noisy, the message won't land. Or it'll land distorted. Silence clears the channel. It aligns transmitter and receiver. And the best part? You can train it. 1 minute a day. 2. 5. Not about quantity, it's about presence. Every second of true inner silence is more powerful than hours of scattered thought. Don't confuse silence with passivity. It's not emptiness. It's presence. It's standing before the universe, naked of thought, open of heart. And in that moment, something always shifts. You feel it. Your chest opens. Breath deepens. Time slows. The desire that felt far away becomes near. Not as a miracle, but as a reflection of who you're becoming. As Neville said, and few truly understand, the world reflects the state you silently sustain. That state isn't built in noise. It's cultivated slowly, in the sacred stillness where thoughts dissolve and feeling expands. It's like sleeping with a spoon under your pillow and knowing the universe hears, not because of what you say, but because of what you vibrate. No doubt. No lack. Just alignment. Just truth. And once you master that internal silence, you realize something wild. What was blocking your manifestation was excess. Too much noise. Too much effort. Too much trying. Silence doesn't just bring peace, it brings clarity. And with clarity, results come. But if you're wondering whether this truly works, just wait for what comes next. Now tell me, after all you've learned here today, are you still going to live on autopilot? Keep repeating the same patterns, attracting the same results, waiting for a miracle to fall from the sky? Or are you finally going to take the reins of your creator mind and become the miracle? Because the silence Neville taught isn't just a pause, it's a key. A vibrational key that unlocks invisible doors. And the real question is, will you use this key, or leave it buried in the drawer of forgotten wisdom? Will you keep looking outside for answers, or finally turn inward and create? The technique is here. It's simple. It's powerful. And it's yours. But it only works for those brave enough to stop. To listen. To feel as if it's already real, even before life gives you permission. And that kind of inner boldness? That's what reshapes destinies. So tell me in the comments, what was your biggest insight in this video? What part made you pause and rethink your entire approach to manifestation? And most of all, what are you going to try manifesting with this technique tonight? And if this touched something inside you, if it stirred your spirit, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and stay close. Because here, you don't just learn how to imagine, you learn how to co-create a new reality. And it all begins in silence.